Y'all want to hear about a camera slash lighting trick since I insisted on doing this video in my car? It's bright as hell in here, so I just put some windshield shields, whatever they're called, the little shades, up, and it increased the appearance and the lighting, so my face isn't glowing now. I was originally going to do this video somewhere on campus or outside somewhere, but I'm like, shit, I left my CD in the car, and what is a NuMetal review without the actual hard copy? So I'm Jay Dennis, and this is Talking NuMetal. I believe my third installment. It's been a while. Today I'm going to be talking about Deftones' new album, GORE, which came out like a week and a half ago, but it's an interesting story. I wanted to do the review sooner, but it didn't come out the way I wanted, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to take an extra couple days to gain more perspective on the album, and I listened to it again today, almost in its entirety, and I'll tell you, taking a couple extra days actually gave me a much more grounded perspective and opinion, and I guess right off the bat I will say that I enjoy the song Elmire, track 8, a lot more. Because originally I thought, you know, for the most part the middle of the album, you know, besides Heartwires, I thought that was pretty much just filler, boring. But before I get into that, yes, this is Talking NuMetal. I'm Jay Dennis. I do a podcast. I'm the singer of a metal band, new metal band, Raptor Riot. That EP is going to be coming out soon. Done tracking it. But again, today we're going to talk about Deftones, and it wasn't just the idea of reviewing this album and re-listening to it and getting a more firm perspective and idea of what this album's really about, but I also took more time to listen to their older work and to see where they came from, to see how they've progressed, to see if it's an improvement over their last album. And anybody can tell you that in the early years, Deftones had a more raw nu metal sound, but Chino's always had that voice about him, and then the rest of the band, Stephen Carpenter, Chi, you know, before his passing, and then, you know, everybody else, they've always seemed to have that sound about them that's been there, that's been present throughout all their albums. But as of late, especially since 2005's Saturday Night Wrist, they've gone to a more atmospheric, melodic sound, which you would hear in White Pony too, and even some of their older stuff, but there's still some heaviness present. And hell, there's even heaviness present in their past couple albums, Diamond Eyes, No Koyo Kan. There's some heavy stuff on there. And there's a couple tracks that I listened to on some older albums that I actually enjoyed more now than I originally heard them back then. Like Goon Squad from Koi no Yokan. And there's... I just re-listened to some of these albums and they're awesome, but I'm not here to talk about that today. I'm here to talk more about GORE. So yes, this is the album. It's paper. This is what I would want my EP to look like, you know, instead of, you know, jewel case. I'm gonna pull the CD out. It's a beautiful light pink. It looks white, but it's a very, very light pink. And just in very light lettering, you see Deftones GORE. So yes, this is an unmasking, a box opening video as well. You open that up. You open it up and you see this. You see the horizon in which the flamingos are apparently going. It's funny. The first time I made this review video, I was at the beach wearing flamingo swim trunks, thinking they would be fitting. And I sat outside and I did this review, but god damn it was just way too windy. So I had to redo it, and I said I'll take a couple days to re-listen to it again. The booklet, again, light pink, really nice. Every page is the lyrics to all the songs. Chino really goes free verse, of course, per usual, which in my opinion makes him a very solid vocalist and lyricist, but also at the same time, the album seems to lack certain hooks that a guy like myself enjoys, you know? I do enjoy free verse quite a lot. You know, a lot of my favorite songs from a lot of my favorite artists are free verse. And I think, wow, can I free verse like that? Am I always going to be writing rhymes and, you know, needing to put punchlines and stuff in there? So yeah, that's the booklet. And in some of their older stuff, you'll hear some lines or some hooks, but it's not really Chino's style. They've only ever really written hooks if they had to, for the sake of the record company or whatever, or just if it happened to come up, like in Rocket Skates or something. But anyway, the actual album. Many would say that Prayers Triangles is not a strong opening song, but after you listen to it, just like the rest of the album, it's a grower. But once you listen to it a couple times, you realize that it is an excellent way to start the album. The way the album starts and the way the album finishes with Rubicon, it's perfect, because in my opinion, the first 3 songs and the last 3 songs are the best. I'm saying 6 out of 11 songs are the best, but ultimately my favorite tracks are track 2, Acid Hologram, and then track 9, the title track, Gore. But I'm also a huge fan of Phantom Bride. It's a very beautiful song, amazing guitar work. Loved Jerry Cantrell's feature in there because I'm a huge Alice in Chains fan. But again, a song that I love a lot more now is Elmire. Excellent track. And then I like Doomed User quite a bit. It kind of just sounds like, vintage. Not vintage, it sounds like Deftones over the past couple of years, where you just hear like genty guitar with Chino responding like bum 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 ba 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 ba, just stuff you would hear like in Command Control off of the Diamond Eyes, or something you would hear from like Koi no Yokon. I don't know the track list off the top of my head, but it's present there. They've gone towards a more atmospheric, genty sound, and they're not even identifying with the gent trend that was big, a couple of years ago. But when you're playing 8-string guitars for a long time, you're gonna fall into like the origin category of that subgenre. Now, people are still talking about Gore a week and a half later, and I've seen everybody's been posting certain songs that they love. And to me, some of the songs are filler tracks. I re-listened to them again today, but you know what? Every song on this album has something to take away from it. So, even if you're not a big fan of, the track Xenon, it's got an amazing, was it the bridge? Oh, wait. It was either Xenon or Patura Infamante that had an amazing chorus that I really liked. But then the rest of the song, the rest of the tracks just seem kind of filler to me. So, like, Geometric Headdress, like, I like the choruses, but the rest of it just seems kind of filler. Same thing with Patura Infamante, good bridge, but it's a filler track. Same thing with Xenon. The guitar work on this album is really good, really heavy, like in Doomed User, Acid Hologram. Gore is heavy. I love it. And again, it ends on an excellent note with Rubicon. So, the best thing I can tell you about Gore is maybe in the midst of all the Deftones album, it would fall somewhere in the middle towards the bottom. It's not one of my favorite albums from them. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. But it's one of those albums where the whole album might not be super solid, but the tracks on there that are awesome are redeeming. So, I'm happy I bought the CD, to be able to add songs like Acid Holograms, Prayer Triangle, Gore, Phantom Bride, to be able to add tracks like that to my iPod makes me very happy. Makes me very happy that they put the time and effort into this album. But no, it's not their strongest album. For whatever reason, they're still exploring this side of their music. But I still yearn for the heavy Deftones. But you know what? If I want to yearn for it, I'll just go listen to it. I'll go listen to Adrenaline, Engine Number 9. I'll go listen to, Around the Fur, Labia, or like Ricketts or some shit. And be like, alright, and get my Deftones fill there. And of course, White Pony's got some good tracks on it too. Personally, I'm a huge fan of their self-titled album. That was the first one that I ever listened to. And people say, that's a weird album to introduce for Deftones. And I'm like, yeah, well, I overheard my teacher playing Battle Axe, and I'm like, oh, what song is that? And and I looked at his iTunes, and then he burned me a copy of the CD. I'm like, oh, this has got a lot of good songs on it. And then over the years, I slowly but surely got into them. But, you know, I'll talk more Deftones in another video. So again, I recommend getting Gore. It's got a couple of amazing tracks on it, but I don't think it's Deftones' strongest album. But if you're a huge fan of their recent work, or of like Saturday Night Wrist, or just any of their more atmospheric, melodic stuff, this album is for you. And you'll get a couple of heavy treats in the middle, you know, complemented with some pretty sweet guitar work by Stephen Carpenter. Alright, so I'm Jay Dennis. This was Talking NuMetal. In my car. Snapshot this.